voice, even if I can't see them, like they're closer in proximity.
That's
and yeah, I just continue my singing lessons online, and still working my voice, when I can online as well. So
that's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start the show. Good day, everyone. This is Arlene J.M. Grant, and welcome to God and Matter. Today, our guest is Azania Noah, and Azania Noah has a very rich background and a lot to share. Welcome, Azania.
Thank you so much, Arlene.
So tell me about you, Azania. Who are you?
Who am I? Well, I am, as far as my background, I was born in the U.S., born in Boston. I was raised in the U.S. until I was about 15. Then I moved to Switzerland, Geneva, Switzerland, because my mother was working for the United Nations as a diplomat. And I've been here about half my life. It's here that I started my professional singing career. So that is now my full-time profession, professional singer and songwriter. And I mostly focus right now on private events. So I'm in the corporate scene, weddings, just different private parties, and that's how I make the majority of my living, including singing lessons, private singing lessons that I give as well.
Wonderful. So you and I met because we were connected through a gentleman in France some years ago and had the opportunity to photograph you in New York. So when did you leave New York?
So in between now and New York, basically, I came back to Switzerland. So I lived my life in the US until the age of 15, went to Switzerland for 20 years, and then moved back to the US, meaning New York. And so New York, I stayed from 2011 until about 2015. And that is when I came back to Europe, to Paris, to be a participant on The Voice France. So once I did that, word spread very rapidly that, oh, Azania is back in Europe. And so I got a lot of gig requests, basically, from people in France, people in Switzerland. And my music career just totally catapulted from that point back in Europe. So that's why it's not that I've totally left New York, but the bulk of my work is now on this side of the world. So, yeah.
Wow. So The Voice, that's exciting. Tell us about the France Voice. I did get to see some clips of it as you shared it on Facebook, and it was amazing. But tell us in your own words, what was it like?
Very unique experience. Having myself been a performer on stage for so many years, hundreds and hundreds of concerts I've done in different, arenas, different spaces, but to be on The Voice is just a really unique, particular experience, because you kind of feel quite alone on the stage, especially for the blind auditions. And, you're just out there. You can't really see the audience. They're in the dark, and you just have 4 backs turned to you. And you have to convince them that you're worth them turning around, and it's just, it's a funny feeling of sort of having to justify yourself after having like almost a 20-year career already, so it's kind of, because I've been singing, I've been being paid to sing as a professional singer since the age of 15. So it was just a strange feeling all of a sudden. Okay, and I have to convince them now that I'm worth something, but it was exciting. It's amazing. It's Saturday primetime TV in France, in Paris. It's basically the equivalent of NBC. So it's massive. It was about 9 million viewers at the time.
Wow.
And so it's just huge. And so, so for me, it was nerve-wracking. I would say that would probably be my first expression. It was nerve-wracking. Being a perfectionist, being, very aware of also the difference between my age and the age of the majority of the contestants, and, afraid of judgment, and all kinds of insecurities that sort of came to the forefront. So I think they're aware of that. There are about 100 people who work behind the scenes, behind the stage, massive community of people who work for the show. And so you have psychologists, you have all kinds, just everything you can think of is back there, just in case the contestants freak out. So, and they have all the clothes you need, and all the, just everything is there. And it's just a huge, huge production. And so in that respect, as far as me who studied business administration, I have a master's degree in business administration and a certificate in marketing. And just to see it from that angle alone was fascinating, just to see how, every level of that production is incredible. And that's what creates a really great show for the TV viewers all around the world, because the voice is in Africa, the voice is in Russia, the voice is everywhere. So it's always the same premise, the same sort of tug at people's emotions at home. And, we're all trying to identify with our favorite singers, and, all of this is very psychological. So it's fascinating. Yeah.
Wow. So from this experience of The Voice, do you feel that you grew in some ways as a singer, as a person?
That's a really great question. I feel I definitely changed in a way. I was really challenged to go inside, because there's so much happening on the outside, that if you don't center yourself and really believe in yourself and your talent and your gifts and your reason why you even are a singer, you can kind of be crushed by the outside pressure. So I think for me, it was a big boost to sort of a wake up call to say, you see, you really can't rely on outside opinions to justify you and justify your gifts. There'll always be somebody who doesn't like the way you sing, or doesn't like the way you dress, or just doesn't like you for whatever reason. And it's just so important. I saw how important it was, not only for myself, but for other contestants that were on my team, just in my surroundings during the show, who were really breaking. They had like literal nervous breakdowns, whether it was before they performed or after they were rejected, in a sense, basically cut from the show. Some of them just lost it, and those are things that TV viewers don't see. But I was able to really realize, wow, we cannot give our energy, our well-being to other people. It's just crucial that we find it in ourselves. And I think that, if you observe just the biggest artists that we admire, who have had psychological issues and, drug addictions and things like this, I think this is really the root. It's as soon as you give that power to the outside world to create your identity, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. And so I think for me, the experience of being on that show really reinforced my self-esteem and my realization that, Azania, if you don't watch it, you could also suffer from exposure. We all want fame, or at least that's what a lot of singers think. We want the fame, we want the glory, we want everybody to know our name, we want to be seen and everything. But once you better be ready inside your mind, inside your heart, inside your soul. And in my own life, I have a very strong connection with God, and that has helped me tremendously as well. My faith has given me that power to not be crushed when I go to an audition and I'm rejected, or just somebody gives me a bad review. I cannot depend on that for my well-being. So yes, it definitely has changed me in that way.
You know, it's a very interesting point what you bring up. I often tell people, when I did a lot of conflict resolution work, I used to tell people because they used to be so upset about what everybody thought of them. And I said, you know, if you allow people to define who you are, you can only be what they imagine for you. You can never be who you're truly supposed to be. You know, and I think that comes in very truthfully for you, for what you described. You decided to define your faith and yourself, as one, and that's why you were able to come away from that experience stronger and also intact and a sure sense of self. Now, it makes me think about young entertainers who are thrust into the limelight and they get that fame that they're looking for, and then we see them implode in certain ways. Do you think that that's why it happens? They're not prepared for it?
I think that's a very big reason of why it happens. When we're young, we're so impressionable, we're so keen on developing our own identity, and like, especially in adolescence, I definitely remember, dressing a certain way or whatever to get attention, to show who I was as a person, unique and whatever. And yeah, the outside opinions of people, just your peers at school and things like that, are just so important at that age. And I believe it's because we just haven't developed enough to really create our own identity. And those who do have that usually fare better later in life. But often, no, we want to be popular or amongst the popular crowd. We don't want to be ostracized. We want to be seen as cool or whatever. So it's a lot of searching during those years to please others. What will be the thing that looks cool to everyone? And so once you're thrust into the limelight at that really sensitive age, whether it be through music or through these child actors, I think a lot of them just get lost. They just get lost because they got all these people around them telling them what to do and what is the right thing to wear and how you should act, and oh, you're so great, you're so wonderful, building up their self-esteem. But as soon as they do anything that's considered wrong, oh, well, you suck. Anyway, we're not going to sign you anymore. We're not going to do this for you anymore. You just totally messed up. And I think it's just two extremes that it just creates a lot of pressure. So if they're not very well surrounded with really healthy-minded people who love them just for them, it's a really sensitive rope to walk. It's
Yeah.
really risky. It depends. Also, some people just have stronger characters than others, but I think everybody's susceptible. That kind of pressure is huge.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You mentioned that they have psychologists. I hope that they're giving that to the young entertainers because, you know, the mind actually develops, they say, by the age of 25 is
Mm.
when your mind is developed, you know. So that's a lot of pressure, and a lot of growth that still needs to take place when you each reach stardom at an early age. No problem. There's sounds all over. I'm just glad that we're able to talk. With regard to your work, what advice would you give to someone if they say, "Oh, I want to be a singer or I want to be on The Voice"? What would you say?
I would say, don't make the voice be your ultimate goal. Have a career be your goal if you really want to. But I would say, first and foremost, like anything, whether it be sports, any kind of arts, anything, psychology, whatever interests you, I just really encourage people to explore.
Mhm.
Just explore it. Go take singing lessons. Try to, get into a choir, whether it be at school, at church, in your community. Do as much singing as you possibly can, because that experience is just, it's so invaluable. Whatever I did, whether it be with different types of bands, I'm classically trained. I sang opera for 10 years, training my voice in that realm. And then I did reggae, I did funk, I sang in a rock band. Like, all of those experiences enriched me as a singer so much, and just taught me and showed me that no matter what I'm doing, I love to sing. And so I think, you know, those people who basically were singing in their shower up until The Voice, and, you know, their whatever their brother signed them up or whatever, and got them on the show. If they don't make it, so-called make it, okay, on the show, they could just give up completely because that was their only experience and it was horrible. And so they don't want to go back. And I find that really sad. And for me, it's just one step on the journey. The Voice is one step. I mean, it's over real quick, a couple months and it's done. And then they move on to the next season. You know, maybe people remember you, maybe they don't. But it's more about just go into whatever you're drawn to. If you have the possibility of exploring it, go for it. You know, whether it's arts and crafts, the sports, painting, psychology. Like I did a year of psychology in university as well. I was interested. Your spirituality, whatever calls to your heart, I think I would just encourage them to experience it in every way possible.
That's sound advice. Now, with your life, has there ever been a time that you questioned being a singer? Did that ever happen? And how did you get through it, if it did?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think honestly, the first inkling of wanting to be a singer probably came when I was about 6 years old. So basically, it's been with me a really long time that this is something that just lights up my heart, whether it's, you know, watching singers that inspire me, or singing myself, or teaching others to sing. Just, it's something that has been with me for so long. I don't see how it could ever leave me. It is a true passion. However, I must say that the incredible experience that was, for me, almost traumatic, okay, being on The Voice, even though it was wonderful exposure and everything, but I did have a somewhat of a crash after it. So I was on it, you know, I had my big smile during the show and everything, but in the months following, I literally was just like, you know what, I don't even know if I want to sing anymore.
Wow.
It was the first time in my life that,
Wow.
and you know, my best friend was like, you know what, I really think you're going through like some sort of like breakdown inside. Like you kept it going during the show, but your body, you know, actually has to release the pressure somehow. And she's like, I don't think it's that you don't want to sing anymore. I just think you need to take a break, a serious break, and just breathe, center yourself again, find your, you know, why you wanted to, you know, why you love singing and everything, and come back to it later. But right now, don't push yourself, don't you know, force it. If you're not feeling it, it's because you probably just need to take a break, a breather, do something else, think about something else, go watch some movies that make you laugh, just relax, take a break, take a walk. So that was, for me, the only time, and it was to my identity, which I've basically created as Azania equals singer. Like, I don't see what else. I mean, everybody knows me as a singer. So it was very, very unnerving to all of a sudden feel like, wait a minute, I don't even feel like singing. So who am I?
Wow.
And so that was very much a soul searching moment for me. I definitely did take a break. And I actually got into, which is just something completely off subject, but it is part of health and my mental health. I explored, as I was speaking about exploring things that call to you, I explored fasting, and it wasn't intermittent fasting, it wasn't, you know, juicing or whatever. It was proper, like, I'm just gonna drink water. You know, and that just cleared my mind. I have never felt so peaceful. And it was a wonderful spiritual experience as well for me. And it was healing to me during that time. And I came out of it just with a great, you know, my heart was full again, and desiring writing songs, desiring to be on stage again. And just I found myself. by sort of creating more space for my mind and my body.
That's powerful. I am an advocate of fasting. I actually do fast myself. Not, and sometimes I'll do like liquids only, or I'll add like a little Himalayan salt to water, and do those types of fasts. And I do a lot of prayer with those fastings and meditation and just being quiet.
Absolutely.
You know, it says, be still and know that I am God. So I like to just have that quiet. And it's true, you connect to that. I find I connect, and it sounds like you described that as well. You connect to that inner person and to the source, to God, to find and get reacquainted with who you are.
100%. That's exactly, yeah, that's absolutely the experience. And I can now feel, since I fast once or twice a year for 5 to 10 days, I really can sense when I need to fast. You know, it's really, I feel confused, I'm tired, I can't make decisions, I'm down, I'm moody. And I'm like, you know what? I think I need to give my body and my mind a little break, reconnect with my higher power, and it doesn't fail me every time. It's really powerful.
You know, it's I believe that so very strongly, so very strongly, but I'm impressed by something you said. Well, many things you've said, but 5 to 10 days in one fast setting.
Hmm. Yeah.
Praise God. For me, I've done like 3 days as a maximum, or I might do like a 26-hour cycle, take a break for an hour, half hour, then do another 24, 26-hour cycle, take a break again for a half hour, hour, and continue again on the fasting cycle. But I've never done as many as 10 days or 5 days. So I just want to say to people who are listening, for myself, I find that it has benefits if you're not able to start at 5 days as your first mark, that you can do lesser periods of time. And I do think that God honors, you know, that intent, and your body gets a reset.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's very, very crucial because, you know, of course, some friends of mine have been curious, you know, when I meet with them and they're like, oh, let's get a bite to eat. And I'm like, actually, I'm fasting. So, of course, the discussion begins. I always am really, really in tune with listening to my body. During a fast, you know, I really, really don't like to give advice to other people because it's truly a personal experience. First of all, it's a personal choice. If
Yeah.
you don't really want to do it, it's not going to work. So I would never start just full on trying to do several days. No way. I didn't set out to do that many days for my first fast, for sure. I was like, let me try it for one day, see how I feel. I tried it for 2 days. Okay. And then by the third day, like I wasn't hungry. My body had readjusted. And I was like, okay, well, let me just connect with the Holy Spirit, let him guide me. And when it's time to end it, I will definitely know. I will get, you know, but as you say, you meditate, you pray, you are so in tune with how your body is feeling during a fast that I really think everybody should do have their own experience with it. Like really, it's not meant to be a painful experience. It's not meant to make you suffer. If you're suffering in any way, stop the fast. That's not the point of it. So for me, yeah, it varies. You know, during the week, sometimes there's some months where I'll go into intermittent fasting. You know, just simply not eating before 12 o'clock and then, you know, stopping eating around 8 p.m. You know, there's so many kinds of ways of fasting that I think there are absolutely no set rules. It really, to each his own for that. And definitely read up on it, you know, do your own research as well. It's very important.
That's beautiful. So after your fasting, you felt yourself revived, renewed. And so what did you do?
Well, I did a lot of just walking in nature. You know, I really got into reconnecting with nature, which is something I usually don't do. I just kind of am a homebody, and so I just I just started slowly. I mean, I started working with my musicians again, just going to see concerts more, getting back into it slowly in that way. And then gradually I reconnected with the event agents that had booked me in the past, let them know, okay, you know, I'm open for business. I'm ready to get back out there. And they were excited because they you know, were really keen on also riding the wave of the fact that I was on The Voice. So they knew that was a really strong selling point because I had recently been, you know, it hadn't been that long. So so I was able to get back in the game quite quickly, and I was really, really happy to relive my passion again.
That's awesome. You talked about nature. I say sometimes to people, touch the earth and let it touch you. Do you feel that the earth like embraced you and part of your healing process?
Absolutely. I was at the time it was the summertime, and I went for several walks barefoot in the grass, just in parks and things like that, and just sort of sat under a tree and just sort of just felt connected. I wanted to physically connect, and I really believed in that whole process of what do they call that? Anchoring or grounding,
Yes,
just your energy.
yes.
So that's why I was doing it barefoot, and I really felt so much of a calming effect for me. Um, I felt at one with nature. I felt just reconnected to life, and so yes, it definitely is important. Yeah.
That's awesome. I remember when I used to do conflict resolution, I also, like initially when I was new at it and doing it a lot, it was a little overwhelming that I was taking in this energy that wasn't my own. And I actually would go and put my toes in the dirt and just wiggle my feet and jump up and down, like to just shake that out and change my vibration, that it was, you know, who I was, calm, peaceful, centered, grounded, you know, because sometimes energy from other people I find can sometimes attach to you, especially if you're sensitive. And as a singer, as an artist, I'm sure that sensitivity would allow you to take in some of other people's energy.
100%. And it's interesting. I mean, I'm a sensitive person anyway, but yes, being an artist, you are your sensitivities are heightened. And um, right now, as we discuss, we're in the middle of the coronavirus crisis, and I really um, felt so much energy around me,
Hmm.
like of people's anxiety, and I was like, why am I feeling overwhelmed? Like, it's just the beginning. Like over here, okay, we started earlier in Europe, but I really believe it's because I do have this heightened sensitivity to other people's energy. And so it was really important for me whenever I could, the few times I would go out, and still that's the case, to go by, you know, by a stream of water, to be by trees, to just take in as much of that of nature as possible, to just release release the negative energies that are surrounding us. And I find that also just diminishing my consumption of the news really helps as well. Just anything, you know, everything we're looking at, whether it's through our screen, listening, you know, just watching, it's all affecting us, and I think we don't realize it so much. And then we get depressed, or we get anxious, and or can't sleep, and we don't understand why. Well, it's all of these energies are affecting us. We're not immune, we're all connected. So I think that's also a reason why it helps so much when you get into nature and just connect on purpose with things that are uh, basically part of the part of creation, part of purity, part of things that are in balance, you know, and and that's silence as well.
I agree that, you know, that's funny. Have you ever done a silence fast? I've done that where I just don't talk and I'm just quiet for a period of time.
Now, I've never on purpose done it. The time that I was forced to do it was when the one time in my life when I lost my voice.
Oh.
And that was terrifying as a singer because I had concerts lined up, I had weddings, and it was a nightmare. But yeah, I literally didn't have a choice. I could not talk. And so I was writing everything down, but I was so at peace. It was very, very relaxing actually to just not talk. It was interesting also to be the listener and just 100% the listener. Not, I'd have to really, and by the time you write your opinion down, basically your response to whatever they just said, you've had time to process it. So it's even more true, basically. If there was something you were about to blurt out, you've had time to process it in your mind before you write it down. So it was very humbling.
Wow.
Very interesting experience. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I like silence fast, but you said something that's really amazing. I didn't know you'd lost your voice. How did that happen, and how did you recover from it?
Yeah, it was simply an infection that I had in the back of my throat. Something started growing, something funny, and yeah, one day I just woke up and I was like, yeah,
Oh,
it just freaked me out, and I was like, no, 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 no! I have like 4 concerts lined up. Like, what is going on? And I went to get checked up, and they're like, well, it's gonna take a little while, and gave me some. I guess it was the first one I went to. Doctor gave me because I said there's no way I can cancel this concert. So can you give me something? And they gave me cortisone. And I got my voice back in like half an hour. And I was
wow.
like, what kind of magic is this? They're like, listen, don't get too excited. You're only going to be able to do the concert and it's going to be just as it was before. So it was like that kind of like Cinderella feeling, like until midnight and then everything's going to be over, they're going to find me out. but I was able to do the concert. I was not relaxed about it for sure, but it was such a strange feeling to all of a sudden get your voice and then lose it again. And then he's like, and I'm not giving you another shot. He's like, it's just a one-time thing. It's not healthy. So but I was able to get it back. I would say it probably took about a week. I don't want to get into the graphics of what happened, but basically, whatever was back there popped and let out whatever was in the way. So,
Oh, wow.
so yeah. But yeah, gradually, once that happens as a singer, I mean, you don't go out and belt some loud thing straight after that. I was really, really careful. The concerts that I could cancel, I just went ahead and canceled, did the minimum amount of speaking as I could still, because it's like an athlete who gets injured. You're not going to go jump around right away. You got to really take your time and get back in the game slowly. Yeah.
Wow, I'm impressed even more. Now, as we close through and go through this process, I wanted to talk about something. You were talking about having faith and having fear. Do you want to talk about faith and how that's helpful and how fear can compromise you even more?
Yeah, it's my I would say internal struggle that I go through on a daily basis. It is amazing how it's a personal choice that I have to continually make throughout my day, to watch my mind as soon as I start feeling negative, as soon as I start feeling down on myself, like, for example, just simply things that I wanted to do that I didn't get done. Oh, see, you're not disciplined. Oh, all of that negative self-talk for me is just feeding into that fear of not being enough, fear of not being good enough, fear of being a failure, fear of whatever, other people's opinion. All of those fears, it's something I'm acutely aware of, but honestly, it's a struggle each and every day to choose faith, to choose positive thoughts, to choose just on purpose filling my mind, or even like being almost like it's like a battle that constantly I'm fighting against the enemy, against negativity, against pessimism, with positivity, with light, with just uplifting thoughts. And whether it be through just like forcing myself to like put on some just super positive music, or listen to somebody who inspires me, or whatever. But when I feel it, when I feel the fears coming in, fear about the future, or regrets about the past, anything like that, it's really a positive an on purpose effort that I make to catch myself, because it's literally, I mean, our thoughts never stop, right? So I mean, you just have to push through every step of the way, daily. But for me, yeah, faith and fear. Faith, for me, I just could not conceive my life without faith. It is, my faith, but I do believe also that faith is not just something you have, it's something that you have to walk out. Like, it's something, it's a choice. It is it's a movement. Like, it's not just something that is, it's like love. It's something that has to be acted out. It's not just there. So I think that's how I live my faith. It's really a constant effort, day after day, sometimes hour after hour, just staying with that belief that God has my back, and there's no reason to fear. Absolutely none, because he's with me every single day, in me, around me, in everything I do.
I'm going to take that a step further to say that you said it's faith is like love. I think faith is love. I think God is love. And one of the things, like, I had a situation where I was attacked leaving New York after we met, and I was helping my uncle, and I got attacked by this random person, and I started to experience what the doctors described to me as a panic attack. I just would start to feel my heart race, and this sudden like I couldn't control my heart. And they're like, "Oh, well, you're having a panic attack. You should try to take this medicine." I tried to take the medicine, which made me feel worse. And so I was like, "No, I'm not going to do that. My body is trying to communicate something to me. Something is off. I know I was hurt. I was wounded as well. It wasn't just emotional injury, but it was physical." And I ended up just one day it just clicked for me to focus on love, as this terror was taking me. And I looked at my cat, and I grabbed my cat, and I hugged him, and I was like, "I love you." And I started thinking about people I loved, and I started calling out everything that I loved. I was like, "I love X, I love Y, I love Z." And as I spoke this love, the fear went away. The panic stopped, and I never had a panic attack after that. And then I thought about it from a scriptural basis, and I said, this kind of makes sense. It says perfect love casts out fear.
Yes.
So I looked at what I perfectly loved, and that love is what delivered me from panic. So I would suggest to you humbly, not telling you what to do, but as those hours, as those days come, think of what you love. And one of my things, and I tell people this, is I say, God is love, I am love. And I hold that mantra so closely into my being that I don't have fear. Like, photography taught me to get over my fear of heights. I used to be scared of heights. Like, I could feel it in my stomach. And I was like, just terrified of heights. Couldn't look over a bridge. There would be these moments. And then I loved photography. And through that love, I was able to climb these heights. Next thing I know, I'm going up tires, climbing up rocks, climbing the arches, climbing these different things. And I'm like, oh, the love brought me past my fear. So I would just hold on to that as a piece
Beautiful.
to share.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure, and thank you for sharing what you said. This has been such a great discussion. I love you even more than I've
Oh, me
loved you
too.
before. You are a beautiful light in this world. And
Thank
I pray and I trust you're going to have so many blessings and that your voice is going to just bless more. Can you sing a little bit, if you don't mind, as we close out? Just some encouragement. You were singing so
Sure.
beautifully on Facebook.
Okay. um, Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I'm found. I was so blind, but now I see.
Azania, that was so beautiful.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
I said it wrong. It's Azania, and it's just said
You're welcome.
Azania. I apologize, Azania. So, Azania, how can people find you? You do singing lessons. I know you can't go sing in public, but maybe people could even hire you via Zoom to sing at an event for them.
A
Um,
pleasure. A
I
pleasure.
don't know if that's something
Azania,
that you've done, but I just throw that out there. Your voice needs to
yeah.
be heard.
Yeah, I see some musicians here in Switzerland are starting to give Zoom concerts and paid Zoom concerts. So it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. I'm best found on azania.com. So that's AZANIA.com. My email is azania@azania.com. And on all social media, my handle is @Azania Noah.
Okay, so that's AZANIANOAH
Correct.
at Azania Noah or on azania.com and azania@azania.com. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. It's been
Bless
such a
you.
pleasure.
It was a pleasure to talk with you. I hope that we'll see you again in the future and people hire her for some lessons and also just for some blessings. Let her sing for you. Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
My pleasure. God bless.
God bless. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Azania Noah, wow. Can you imagine at 6 years old knowing who you want to be? And then going across to another country, to 9 million people each week on a stage, for a crown you don't get, and devastated by it only to later find that that crown you seek is within? Incredible. We talked about so many things today, and I hope that you walk away with much. Our next guest is going to be Jennifer Ransow Smith, a brand strategist. Please tune in. God and Matter is brought to you by ArlieSpeaks Media, LLC. We talk about a lot on God and Matter, but most importantly, remember, we're not experts. We're just offering you heartfelt opinions from our experiences. Thank you.